Last year at Computex 2023, Lian Li showed off this little ditty here. It's called the Lian Li SUP-01. That was a prototype and a bit of a concept, but now we have the real thing. My first impressions of this are essentially what they've done is they've got the Meshlicious and they've gone boop, just added some water and made it a whole lot bigger and a whole lot more interesting than their regular boring old O11. Let's take a look, let's test the thermals, and then I'll let you guys know what I think of the brand new Lian Li SUP-01. Spoiler alert, it's not an O11, so I already like it.
This video is brought to you by Aorus and their brand new QD OLED gaming monitors. The Aorus FO32U2P is the world's first OLED gaming monitor with DisplayPort 2.1, UHBR20 and a mind-blowing 240Hz refresh rate. And the Aorus FO27Q3. The Aorus FO27Q3 is a 27-inch 1440p QD OLED monitor with an unbelievable 360Hz refresh rate that is perfect for clicking on heads. Both monitors feature vibrant QD OLED displays for stunning colours and deep blacks. Enjoy seamless gameplay with variable refresh rate and AMD FreeSync support. Connect your consoles with HDMI 2.1 and easily switch between devices with the built-in KVM switch. Plus, Aorus OLED Care's AI technology helps prevent burn-in. Because it's coming up to the end of financial year, Aorus also has some deals for you Aussies out there. Save up to $700 on selected gaming laptops, all powered by GeForce RTX 40 series laptop GPUs and the latest Intel CPUs. Also save up to $150 on selected 4K monitors as well. To find out more about the new Aorus QD OLED gaming monitors and the end of financial year deals, check out the links in the description. Back to you, Nick.
Let's start off with panel removal on the SUP-01. First of all, to remove the TG side panel, there's a little notch on the back edge of the case. And what you want to do is, wait for it ladies and gents, pull on that, and then you can lift it away from the case. The backside panel is the same deal. It's got a little notch on the edge of the case and you want to pull that towards you, but you've got to give this one an extra tug like that, and then you can lift it away from the case. To remove the top panel, there's a little cutout on the back of the case. Put your little baby fingers in there and give it a bit of a tug and then lift it away from the case. To remove the front panel, basically you want to put your fingers in the top corners here and then give it a yank towards you. Yep, that's right, towards me, and then lift that away from the case. These two fan brackets are removable as well. Each of these requires 2 screws to remove each. For the bracket on the left, the screw is, guess where? On the left. For the one on the right, guess where the screw is? And you guessed it, on the right. And the other 2 screws are straight on the top. And then once you've taken out those 4 screws, you can remove both of these brackets here. You can see this one's got some pre-installed fans. We'll come back to that in a moment. But to remove these, what you want to do is kind of tilt them towards you or away from the case and then lift them straight up with a little bit of a wiggle. And both of these brackets are like this, but the thing is, they're not interchangeable with each other, so you can't put the one that goes on the left on the right and vice versa. But to remove the right one, which is the radiator bracket, same deal, just kind of tilt it and then give it a little jiggle and lift it away from the case. There is one last panel that I would recommend removing, and that is this top panel here. This makes it easier to install radiators, and basically it's impossible to install a radiator without removing this panel. But to remove it, there's 3 screws. There's 2 on the left-hand side if you're looking at it from the side that you're watching this clip right now. And then there's 1 on the right or at the back of the case. Give it a bit of a lift and a jiggle and you can pull it away from the case. For dust filters, there are 3 dust filters in total. There are 2 in the panels themselves. So there's one on the top panel, which is magnetic, and then there's another one on the front panel, which is also magnetic. And there's another dust filter on the bottom of the case for your power supply. And that just slides out and you can push it back in and bang. There's quite a bit of storage support in the SUP-01. First of all, we've got 2 3.5-inch sleds in the bottom of the case right here. And this whole cage for the drives is removable. But not only that, you can do 2 2.5-inch SSDs. Now, if you're tired of looking at yourself in the mirror, well, on the bottom mirror on the case, you can remove it with the single screw and basically just loosen the screw, slide the mirror out, and then you can mount 2 more 2.5-inch SSDs to the bottom of the case. I thought mirrors were supposed to be on the roof, not on the floor. For power supply support, there's a maximum supported length of 220 millimeters in the basement here. To put the power supply into the SUP-01, there's 2 thumb screws and there's this bracket here. And basically, you do what you gotta do. You gotta load it in the back. In the rear of it, up the back, that's where you put it in. The SUP-01 comes with these pre-installed PWM fans. They're 120 mils each, and they're daisy chained with a new type of connector that Lian Li hasn't really used before. It doesn't do any RGB because the fans just don't have RGB, but you'll notice this connector here. It's a 4-pin connector, and like I mentioned, it allows these fans to daisy chain. On the end of this, you can connect another fan if you wanted to daisy chain. That means for these pre-installed 120mm fans that they are PWM, and there's a single fan cable that comes from the fan bracket for all 3 fans. While we're on the topic of fans, for fan and radiator support, while Lian Li states that they don't officially support radiators on this bracket, I bet you could probably make it work if you really wanted to. However, the bracket that is designed for radiators is the one on the right-hand side, which they're calling side 2. This one will allow you to install radiators till your heart's content. And you're looking at installing radiators from 240 up to 360, including 280 mils. Now, the thing that people are going to complain about, well, at least the 3 people that will bother to complain about it, is the tubes have to be at the top of the radiator here. There's just no way around it. You'll have to live with it unless you have a liquid cooler with very long tubes, which I don't have, so the tubes are going at the top. Deal with it. Lastly, there is another fan mount on the case, and it's right up the back. Essentially what you want to do is use this included bracket and install an intake fan pushing air into the case on the backside. So in total, you can have up to 7 fans in the SUP-01. Now, I know some people will be annoyed at the fact that they have to run cables through the back of the case somehow. So let's take a look at cable management, because this is where it gets spicy. Lian Li has almost thought of everything when it comes to cable management, especially on the outside of the case. There's a bit of a cable raceway. So the top clip here will take all the cables from the I/O on the back of your PC and run them all the way down the back of the case. It'll put it in line with your power cable. There's this little hole on the bottom. And you might be asking yourself, why am I doing that weird, disgusting thing in the hole down the bottom? Well, that is for your DisplayPort cable or your HDMI cable. There's lots of space towards the edge of the motherboard for your power cables, like 24-pin power cables and all that jazz. As well as that, you'll notice that there's more Velcro tie downs for that really peculiar looking riser cable, which I'll come back to in a moment as well. So cable management is looking pretty darn excellent. Well, I guess you have to with a case like this. This is something very different, and we haven't really seen anything like this before, other than, you guessed it, this is like an exploded Meshlicious. Honestly, they really went to town on cable management here. You can see there's Velcro straps near the I/O cutout, and motherboard support is, from what Lian Li's saying, from ITX up to ATX, but let me show you something here, right? This is an eATX board that fits without any problems. So I don't think they're telling the whole truth, because eATX isn't really a standard, so maybe they're just trying to be safe and not say that it does eATX, but you can see this big ass Aorus board fits with no problems whatsoever. In fact, when I had a look at what Lian Li had tested with this, they used a Z790 Taichi, which is also an eATX board. So it's odd that they didn't mention that and say that it supports eATX. Anyways, it also supports back connector motherboards too. However, keep in mind, it only supports ATX back connector boards, not MATX back connector boards. You bloody massive legends probably noticed that they've done a bit of a height here. They've got half height slots, they've got 7 of these suckers up the back, and they've got this riser card. It looks exactly like Height's one. The difference with the riser card from Lian Li is it's got RGB. The riser card connects to a PCIe Gen 4 riser cable because the GPU goes in the front of the SUP-01. Yep, it's a joke, I'm running with it, deal with it. The 87-kilometer long riser cable comes out towards the front of the case. As I mentioned, the GPU is front mounted in here. Lian Li's taken a bit of a page out of Antec's book and they've decided to do front mounted GPUs. Now for maximum GPU length, you're looking at 400 millimeters. That is the maximum length, but there is quite a few configuration options here, believe it or not, even though it's front mounted. So for mounting, the display cables come out the bottom of the card. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you want to center your graphics card, it's on a bit of a rail system. So let's just say, for instance, our graphics card is wider than this and you wanted to push it over, you can do that. Let's say your graphics card was a little bit longer. Well, you'll notice there are some tracks along the bottom edge of the front of the case. And once you've attached it to the bracket, I'm going to try and do this without destroying people's lives and hardware in the process. You lift it off that mount and then you push it over into the other tracks. And watch this. Now you've got even more movement. So that is very cool. And not only do you get extra movement, you can then change the height if it's centered. So you can do the screw up wherever you like. Like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. All right, you getting the idea? And it has a GPU support bracket built in as well. The GPU support bracket has a lot of movement on its own. So first of all, to get it to the correct height for your graphics card, you can push it down to line up with your graphics card, and then you kind of clamp it closed to hold it into place, and then you screw down from the top to hold your card so it doesn't move. As for case wiring, we've got a front panel audio connector, USB Type-C, there's USB Type A 3.2, and the little block for all your lights and your switches to let you know your system is up and running. I'm really hoping you guys can understand me because my coffee has just kicked in. It's very late in the day. I'm not even gonna say what date it is, but this is well before this video comes out, like weeks. On the side of the case, we've got a little bit of I/O here as well. We've got the mode button for the lighting. We've got another button for the lighting. We've got a combined headphone and microphone jack. We've got USB Type-C and 2 USB Type-A ports, but this is the coolest thing, and it is a very vanity-based thing, but for the power and reset button, look at this, right? Lian Li's like, oh, you know what? We've never used our logo in a cool way before. Let's make the Lian the power button and the Li reset. The Lian Li SUP-01 is all about ass. And by that I mean aesthetic. Ha ha ha. And the crowd goes wild for Nick's dumb joke. We've got a mirror so you can look at yourself, like I said, or you can just put it on the roof and look at your mum. We've got that. And then there's this RGB strip that wraps all the way around the edge of the case for a little bit of a bling bling money in the thing. And then we've got some RGB on that riser card for some reason. I don't know why, but here's what it looks like if you want to see what it looks like without doing a build in the case yourself. This is me just doing the thing, pressing the buttons, some modes so you can get an idea of how it looks. And I've got to be honest with you beautiful humans out there, as far as RGB goes, it looks pretty dang good. I don't hate it. And I usually hate everything, and I'm just not hating it. Two really big caveats with the RGB controller here. First of all, there's only one caveat. That caveat is to power it, you need to use SATA, or in Australia, with the correct pronunciation, SATA power. And there's also motherboard pass-through. So if you didn't want to press the MC button, you can use 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB motherboard pass-through. That's everything I think you need to know about the SUP-01. This green shirt is a bit much, right? Let's do a costume change. That's way better. All right, let's do our usual thing. Let's test the thermals, do a build, and then I'll let you guys know if the SUP-01 is worth your hard-earned money. Let's do a build thing. right, let's take a look at the thermals with the Lian Li SUP-01. What you're seeing on your screen right now is kind of interesting. The thermals here are very, very good. The layout and the airflow design for this case is very different from what we typically see, with the intake being on the rear of the case and there only being a single intake fan. However, the whole backside of the case is perforated, so it's pulling all of the air in and pushing it out the backside. They call this a split chamber design, and I think this is going to be quite popular in terms of people building for airflow. The thermal results here are quite a bit better than I expected, to be honest, so good work, Lian Li. The other thing is, as usual with these type of tests with cases that have internal dust filters, we test with the filters on and off, and you can see there's a little bit of a temperature delta with the GPU more than anything with the filters being on and off, and that top filter really isn't doing that much. So yeah, I would almost go as far as saying, hey, get rid of the top dust filter. However, that is intake for the top of the case too, because it is a different case. I will say as well, once we were thermal testing, I walked behind the PC and it was pumping out a lot of air. So yeah, a lot of hot air rather. If you're interested in any of the hardware, there's a PC part picker list down below in the description. You can check that out. It's like underneath my finger somewhere. I think that's how the internet and the YouTube machine works. And we put little cards on screen during the build section so you can see what it all is and all that jazz. But let's talk about the SUP-01. This case is interesting to me, mainly because when I saw it at Computex, I honestly said this, I'll play a clip. This is a step in the right direction, doing something new, and that's something I can definitely get behind. They've been beating a dead horse for the last couple of years, and yeah, they're just boring. Right. Other than that, the thermal performance is good. The build quality is very, very good. The way you build in this case is really good. I'm surprised, guys. This is a very nice case. Cable management was an absolute breeze. You can take a look at this clip here before I put all of the fans and stuff back in to show you how I did it. I didn't spend any time on this. Essentially, there's so many Velcro straps on the back side of the motherboard tray. I just gave her a bit of a slap and put everything in there, and it's good to go. The cable management is phenomenal. Even down to little things like plugging in the 12-volt high power cable for the GPU, the spot where the cables come out for the 24-pin power cables and everything on the side of the motherboard is perfect if you've got a right-angled power cable as well. You almost can't see it in this build, and that's the other thing. I like it because it does these things. I gotta say though, not everything is unicorn farts and people running through fields of daisies and all the things that make people happy, all the stereotypical insert stock footage here things in life, right? Because of the cooling situation with the radiator having tubes up, there's gonna be at least one person complaining about it. Please get over it. Lian Li's designed it this way on purpose. Not only that, there are some coolers with much longer tubes, so you would get away with having the tubes go down, but most liquid coolers, ladies and gents, the tubes aren't long enough. Okay, do we have to beat a dead horse even more? No, we don't have to do this anymore, guys. Right, the next thing is something, well, there's two more things because this was a bit strange to me, and I think this is a bit of an oversight when it comes to the teams developing cases. So first of all, the thing I noticed was on the back, I put one of their new TL120 LCD fans. Yeah, it's cool. Like it fits kind of. You have to put the fan in the incorrect orientation. So you're hiding the lighting on the frame with the bracket. That's kind of dumb. I don't know why they've done that. And the fan doesn't really fit in the frame. I had to bend the frame to make it fit, so that's the second thing. And I mentioned this when we did the A3 video with these TL fans being wider than 120 mil, so that is another thing you have to take into account. And not only that, the connectors on the TL fans don't fit through the holes on the back of the case to feed the cables in for cable management and powering the damn thing. How did they mess that up? It doesn't make sense to me. It's your flagship fan in your new flagship case and you can't plug the fan in. That's dumb. Very, very dumb. Other than that, don't hate it. Really, really don't hate it. I think Lian Li's done a fantastic job. Again, like the build quality on this thing is great. It is typical Lian Li, and I think this one's gonna be here to stay. So let's do a obituary to the 011. The 011 is dead. Long live the SUP-01, because this is going to be the future for Lian Li. I think it's very cool, and I think you guys are going to like it too. And if you want to buy one of these, which I don't know what date is it. It's not even close. Look, you can see that it's the 24th, right? In the morning on the 24th. This video is coming out on the 30th. I won't even be in the country when this video comes out. I'm sidetracking because you want to know the price. $149 for both the black and the white version with those included 3 PWM fans with that really cool new daisy chain connector that someone else invented some other time in the universe of electronics. But it is a very nice case. Like I said, you're gonna like it. I like it. I don't hate it. I don't care that it's taller than usual. I like that it takes up less space on the desk. Anyways, ladies and gents, that's it from me. I'm already in Taiwan by the time you see this, eating dumplings and all of the things. I'm trying not to pick up any weight while I'm there because I've been a good boy for the last couple months. Yeah, I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers, I guess that's my name. I'll catch you next time. You peek, we seek, all the other internet things. Yeah, I'm off adventuring somewhere in Taiwan before Computex. Sweating my balls off because it's currently hot here, even though I'm still in Sydney where it's only 14 degrees right now, which is perfect. Just be this temperature all the time. Thanks for watching. Here's an outtake from something in the video, I suppose. There's lots of outtakes. That was weird. I can't believe we can do magic like that.
This is why I have so much washing to do.
Yeah, the funny thing is the shirt's just, like, it's not really magic, guys. I'm just wearing 2 shirts.
Guy owns 2 shirts.
That's all I've got.
2 shirts.
2 shirts, an 8-year-old car, and a small pub.
And
a cat. That's my life story.
But the cat's adopted, so we got it half price.
Yeah, well, not even half price. She's a Bengal, which costs lots of money. We paid like $100 and something for it.
We got Bengal from Kmart.
Yeah, we got Bengals at home. That's why she's an asshole.